You know, IoT designs these days are getting really modular. It's just like those building blocks we had as kids. I can get my Wi-Fi in one place, my sensors somewhere else, my MCU or apps processor SoC somewhere else, and just like those old building blocks, it all totally does not snap together. I mean, unless your idea of building blocks is like building something out of 2 Legos, a couple Tinker Toys, a Duplo, and a couple of those magnetic thingies, some tape, and of course, maybe a curved track piece from those wooden train sets that cost a fortune. Okay, sorry. Back to IoT. Got a little carried away with myself. Anyway, hi, I'm Amelia Dalton, host of Chalk Talk. Today, my friends, I'm talking to Henrik Flodell from Renesas about the Synergy platform, which solves this exact problem. Not the expensive train set problem. Those are still around. No, I mean getting all of our IoT development under control. And before we get started, don't forget to click that link. There you can find out more information about the Synergy platform from Renesas. Hi, Henrik. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Amelia. I'm very happy to be here today.
Okay, so I've heard of Synergy, and I know it's supposed to help me with my embedded design process. But for starters, what exactly is it?
So Synergy is an IoT platform for embedded designers. We created Synergy because we realized that as we keep advancing the capabilities of microcontrollers, we're also increasing the need for developers to have access to ready-made software for some of the things that their applications will have to do, but that doesn't necessarily add value to what they're trying to build. Things like TCP/IP stacks, various types of communication, graphics drivers, all of these things that the application need in order to function, but that doesn't necessarily differentiate the product that the developer are creating from the competition. Synergy is created with 3 key value propositions in mind. We want to accelerate development for the users of the Synergy platform. We want to reduce their total cost of ownership when it comes to, in particular, the software that they're putting in their designs. And we want to lower the barriers of entry for our customers to make it easier for them to get started and, most importantly, to finish their designs. But if we boil it down, the primary objective of the Synergy platform is really to give you, the developer, back time and resources so you can do what you do best, which is to innovate and differentiate.
Oh man, Henrik, giving me back time sounds great. I have to confess that my projects aren't always exactly ahead of schedule.
Well, you're not alone. Most projects are actually late. We've collected a number of data points on this. This one on the slide is from UBM's Embedded Market Study in 2015. And as you can see, the vast majority of the projects that were undertaken that were surveyed here, 60% ended up being behind schedule. Also, in addition to that, to further complicate matters for the developers, is that they tend to be working on a larger number of projects these days than they have been in the past. In total, the engineering team's average workload has jumped more than 50% in the past 2 years. Teams in the Americas work on average on 5.1 projects in parallel, which is a 42% increase. And in total, of all the various teams that were surveyed, there was a 5.4 project per team. And it's also a sad fact that companies not always tend to prioritize innovation over time to market. As you can see in the graph here, there's a lot of people that disagree with the statement, meaning that companies really place a large value on getting these things out to the market on time. And when the project being late, that may mean that important features get cut.
Good, I'm glad I'm not the only one with schedule challenges. So how are we going to go about saving me some time?
Well, if you take a look at the traditional development cycle, and this should ring true for most embedded software projects, it usually involves a period of hardware design and driver software design at the very front end of the project. After that, developers tend to spend a lot of time designing and integrating middleware components and performing RTOS integration on the same components, connecting these things to the various cloud services that need to drive these devices. And it's not until all of these activities are done that you get to the point where you can sit down and create the actual application code that you're going to use to wow your customers. And then once that is done, you have to take a considerable amount of time also into consideration for testing the system to make sure that everything works. What Synergy does is that it accelerates your development by handing you back a large portion of this time. All the driver software design, the middleware, the RTOS integration, connectivity, All of this has been already taken care of in the Synergy platform. So you can spend less time overall working on your project and get to market faster. Or if you choose to do so, you could spend additional time in your project adding more innovation to the end product. You'd still get the project out on the market faster than you would have if you follow the traditional development cycle. With Synergy, we give you options to reach customers sooner.
Besides helping me out with my schedule, what else would Synergy buy me?
So Synergy as a platform is intended to also reduce the total cost of ownership for you as a user. When embarking on a new embedded design, most people tend to only look at the MCU as the cost factor and tend to forget that there are a lot of other hidden costs associated with maintaining an embedded product throughout its life cycle. These often underestimated costs include things like research and evaluation to figure out which particular software library am I going to use for this design. It may be costs associated with acquiring licenses for said software. Licensing software components can be surprisingly time-consuming, actually. You need to train your team, you need to do a fair amount of development to integrate all of these components and make them work well together, optimization and verification of the end results, and then also for you to manage updates and upgrades to all this software that doesn't really add any differentiations to your end product. All of this often gets grossly underestimated when you look at the total cost of a project. And Synergy can help you reduce this by removing a large chunk of this iceberg that you have in front of you.
It seems like one of my biggest challenges with a project is just getting started, getting to the actual beginning of the engineering part. So, can you help me out there?
Yeah, so another thing that Synergy will do for you is it will reduce barriers of entry. We make sure that we provide access to the latest embedded technologies in the Synergy software platform. We also take care of all the issues around licensing and affordability of these software components, since everything is integrated into a very easy click-through license that gives you access to the full contents of this entire package. We spend a lot of time architecting Synergy to make it very consistent and thus reducing the overall learning curve for engineers. Once they start working and learning the Synergy APIs, they get a lot of time back because they recognize the design patterns that we're implementing. And by using a software platform that is supported by Renesas, you're also mitigating a lot of the risk associated with bringing in outside software components. What if, for instance, you opt to pick an open source library that ends up being disputed because it may contain code that somebody has added that is patented by somebody else? You don't want to risk getting any of that into your design. Synergy is vetted for these kinds of situations, so you know where the software comes from and you know who to call in case there are any questions. So there are a lot of things that we do to simply remove obstacles for you as a developer to get started with your designs.
Okay. Henrik, that's great. Let's dive into the nuts and bolts of Synergy now. Maybe we can start with the software side?
We can absolutely do that. So the Synergy software package is, we like to call that the centerpiece of the Synergy platform. This is basically where the developers will spend most of their time. And we've developed this over a number of years now to be a very comprehensive solution for all types of embedded applications. We've licensed a large number of very advanced middleware components from Express Logic, from the ThreadX RTOS, and integrated them fully into the SSP package. That's the middleware components that you see here on the slide. We also have a number of advanced application frameworks that take care of many low-level functions, which is the single call from the application that is running on the framework. We also have a number of functional libraries and, of course, a complete set of HAL drivers for all the features in the microcontroller. Important to point out, SSP comes with no license fees, no royalties, and can be used for an unlimited number of products. All you need is a Synergy MCU. It's fully integrated and qualified. Renesas provides periodic maintenance releases, full support, and also warrants specific sections of the SSP for performance. We also provide a data sheet that outlines all of the features and the performance of the software package, and we have a comprehensive user manual that covers the entire software setup. So, comprehensive user manual for the software. In addition, we consider SSP to be an organic component. It will continue to grow and improve as we add new features and functionality to it. When we add a new framework, that framework becomes available to all the MCUs in the Synergy platform. So so, Synergy is an investment that keeps paying dividends. Basically, with Synergy, we can move you from starting on this level, where you start writing code on register levels against BSPs that is very difficult to migrate between projects, up to a much higher abstraction level, where you can be more productive and you can get more done faster.
Okay, walk me through an example. Say I'm designing a system and my system needs wireless connectivity of some kind.
Yes, wireless connectivity is an issue that most developers, in particular of IoT devices, has to face these days. And it's not an easy thing to develop for. You have to consider a number of different challenges. There's different vendors that provide different types of wireless solutions. There's the different protocols themselves. And maybe the most time-consuming thing to consider is different software that is required to drive these solutions. Even though most of these wireless connectivity modules perform the same functions, the interfaces to make them do so between different vendors tend to change wildly, so it's difficult to perform a comparison of one against the other. SSP, as I mentioned, has a number of advanced application frameworks, which is basically highly abstracted APIs that allows developers to ignore hardware details and instead work more productively with the concept of calling one function and getting a lot done. There are, of course, ways that you can access lower levels of SSP functionality, but if you develop on the application framework, you can really move quite quickly through some of the normal challenges that you face in this type of application through the way that we've architected and standardized our APIs.
So specifically then, how would this apply to setting up wireless connectivity for my design?
We've added a number of wireless frameworks specifically for this type of development in SSP in recent releases. We're covering Wi-Fi, BLE, that is Bluetooth Low Energy, as well as cellular connectivity can all be accessed through a framework level. This has a great benefit for users as it exposes a unified API to application developers regardless of the actual radio that is running underneath the framework. This means, for instance, that a developer can evaluate a number of different RF modules from different vendors with minimum impact to their application code. All they need to do is plug it into the framework and then write their application against the framework, and the application will be able to utilize all the features of that module. We've designed these frameworks to be expandable with drivers for additional RF modules as needed, so customers that are looking for specific solutions can easily integrate them or pick one of the pre-integrated options that are available from our Synergy gallery.
All right, Henrik, this sounds good on paper, or PowerPoint, as the case may be, but how is it going to work in real-world practice with real customers and real designs?
Yes, we've gotten very good feedback on this approach. We run ongoing efforts from our side. It's something that's called DevCon On-Site, where we bring a bunch of FAEs and application engineers to our customers, and they work with them on going through labs and exercises to help them get up to speed on our software and technology. We ran one of these events for a customer that was moving from a wired Ethernet-based solution to a Wi-Fi-enabled solution, and we demonstrated our wireless frameworks in a lab that took about an hour to go through. One of the engineers came up to the trainer after this event and said that he'd basically spent the last 2 years developing a solution to do what we accomplished during this lab, which I think is tremendous validation for our approach.
Okay. Wow, I probably would have spent a lot of that 2 years inserting and then later removing bugs from my design. It seems like this could help me with debugging and software quality problems as well.
We hope it will. And I also want to point out here that software quality is something that Renesas takes very seriously in the Synergy platform. In fact, there is a lot of MCU vendors that provide software to go with their solutions where they claim that the code is production ready and well integrated. But such claims tend to have little value for customers if they need to prove the claims themselves, if they can't go back to documentations and test artifacts to see that this code actually fulfills the marketing promises that is made by these vendors. Renesas spends a lot of time qualifying both the microcontrollers and the software in the Synergy platform. And what is unique about Synergy in particular is that we qualify our software platform based on a published SQA process that is based on international quality standards. And we also warrant certain operations according to specifications in a published software data sheet for our software platform. For each minor release that we do, we also publish a quality summary report that outlines how well this release follows our process. All of this is available from our website. We like to say that we have a quality process that is verifiable because it uses quantifiable metrics to measure and track software quality, meaning we've set certain goals and we have also ways to benchmark how we live up to them.
Synergy sounds great, but I assume it means I'm working with some specific Renesas MCUs. So what are my options there?
The Synergy MCU family is broken down into 4 separate microcontroller series. We have the S7 series on the high end for high performance applications, and from there it moves down to S5 for highly integrated type applications, S3 for high efficiency, meaning applications that need to spend a lot of time in standby modes on battery, and S1 for the really ultra low power applications. All of these microcontrollers are based on ARM Cortex-M cores, going from the S7, S5 and S3 using M4 Cortex-M cores from ARM to the S1s that use the Cortex-M0 Plus cores. The S7 devices operated up to 240 megahertz, all the way down to 32 megahertz for the S7 devices. Within each of these series, there are a number of microcontroller groups that contains different configurations of the peripheral for each of these series.
Okay, Henrik, let's say I choose one and I start my design and, I know this is shocking, but I change my mind. How hard is it to migrate between these various devices?
Well, changing your mind is one thing, but when we designed the Synergy families, we took portability and scalability into account to make sure that developers that spend time working with Synergy can get a continuous ROI on that investment. We've made sure that the package footprint, the register sets and features, as well as the APIs and functionality of the software are very scalable, both upwards and downwards in these series. So as you see on these slides, they build off of each other. The S1 starts, it lays the foundation, and the S3 becomes a superset to that. So does the S5, all the way up to the powerful S7 series microcontrollers.
Okay, let's say I've picked out my MCU. How do I get tools and development boards and so forth to get started?
I'm glad you asked. Another component of the Synergy platform is the development tools. When we designed the platform, we realized that this is a key component for success for developers. So we went ahead and made sure that we had development tools integrated at the very core of the platform. We are bundling 2 separate IDEs with the Synergy platform. The E2 Studio Eclipse-based IDE from Renesas, which features the GNU GCC compiler, as well as the commercial-grade IAR embedded workbench for Renesas Synergy that features a full version of IAR's C compiler and debugging environment. In the same way as we've done with the software, we've taken care of all the licensing issues up front for the developers. There's no additional licensing fees, no maintenance fees, or no limitations of user seats for either of these IDEs. They're included with Synergy. All you need is a microcontroller to get access to using them.
Wow, all right, so I don't need a big budget for development tools before I even start? That's great. What kinds of boards do you have for me?
We have a lineup of a number of different types of development boards depending on the type of evaluation you want to use or the type of prototyping that you're getting into. The main board that we propose to new users of the Synergy platform is our starter kit. This features our superset S7 series MCU, the S7G2, and it's very appropriate for people that want to experiment with and explore all facets of the Synergy software package. So this starter kit is available from your local distributor. It supports access to most pins of the MCU, and it has expandability to Arduino and PMOD connectors, and typically costs less than $100. We also have target board kits for developers that know which MCU group that they're interested in evaluating. These are simpler boards, very low cost, about $30 MSRP, and provides access to all the MCU pins and signals for evaluation and prototyping. For customers that want to get into some more complex prototyping, we provide what's known as development kits, or DKs. These are bigger boards with more functionality on them to allow for more complete project prototyping on the evaluation kit.
All right, I'm ready to get started. I'm going to click that link for more information. And what do I do next?
Well, what you need to do to really get started with Synergy is to visit our Synergy gallery and register for an account, sign up to download the Synergy software packet, the development tools, and also browse around on the gallery for any of the add-on software components that you find there. We work with a lot of partners in the embedded industry that provide specialized solutions for communication, wireless access, security, and as these partners of ours get their solution up and running on the Synergy platform, we market and publish them on our gallery. So it's a one-stop shop for everything Synergy. It's really simple. You sign up, accept the Synergy license, and you're off to the races.
Okay, I'll definitely sign up and check out the Synergy gallery. What other information is available for me?
There is a lot more information available on the renesassynergy.com website. You can go there for more information and to register for our technical support forum, where you'll find a lot of other Synergy users as well as our talented and knowledgeable support staff. You'll be able to find information on our development boards as well as links to where you can purchase them. All kinds of documentation. We have the user manual for the software. We have a number of application projects that help you get started, and it's just a wealth of resources for anything related to Synergy. So I really advise that you go there.
Excellent. Well, I think that's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Henrik.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And before we go, don't forget to click that link. There you can find out more information about the Synergy platform from Renesas. For Chalk Talks, I'm Amelia Dalton from eejournal.com. For more Chalk Talks, head on over to the Chalk Talk section of EE Journal or check out YouTube, keyword EE Journal.